same high school. So when I would have been Arbella's age, I got to watch her play and have somebody that I got to look up to. So I probably have known her longer than by far she's known me, based upon being that person that you can look up to. Kathy is the author of the book The Miracle Season, which many of you know was made into a movie. I know a number of you have seen that movie. It's about life-changing events that she and the Iowa West volleyball team, volleyball players experience with the death of their leader, Caroline found. A young woman who smiled large, gave big hugs, played with passion, and embraced everyone. So at this time, I'm going to hand the mic over to Bresnahan.
I guess I'm going to have to earn it, huh? So at least you're out of school for an hour. That's a good thing. Tori, thank you much for the introduction. I did not know Tori in school, and now she threw me under the bus and said that I'm older than her. So, yeah, thanks a lot for that.
Hey, no problem.
Yeah, no problem. So, as she said, my name is Kathy Bresnahan. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today. I've gotten into a lot of high schools this past 8 months in a lot of different states, and my passion, my drug of choice is you guys. Okay, it really is. I love meeting you guys. You're so full of energy and so full of fun, and I'm glad you're willing to listen to the story today. How many of you saw the movie? Well, you guys, a bunch of losers. Where's the rest of your hands? All right, well, if you like what I have to say today, I hope you will consider putting it on Netflix, or I believe it's in Redbox. And there's a lot of differences between the story in the movie and in real life. So I'm going to tell you our story and what made it exceptional. All right? You know, and how many of you are in athletics? Some kind of sports, if you played sports, or you're in band, or you're in competition, dance, show choir. Okay, so you guys all know what it's like to be with a team and try to pull each other along and accomplish whatever your ultimate goal is. In high school, for you guys that are in high school, obviously it's a state championship. And in 2010, I know some of you guys are like, 2010? Did they even have electricity then? Right? In 2010 at Iowa City West, so we're a big school, a couple thousand kids, we won our first state championship in volleyball. So you're on. Listen. There's no mic. Can you guys see that okay? No, it's better than nothing. At least you got something to look at than me. So that was like the pinnacle, I thought, of accomplishments. It wasn't the most fun group to be around. A lot of drama, a lot of egos. And I remember at the time thinking, this is what it takes to win a state championship and have this kind of pickiness going on. This kind of negativity. It was all about me. Why didn't I get the interview? Why am I not getting more sets? And I remember when that championship point went down, and I thought, why am I not feeling what I thought I would be feeling at this moment? And I realized it was because of the people I was around. Maybe that was my fault, maybe it was theirs, who knows? But it wasn't as fulfilling as I thought. But nonetheless, it was a state championship. Has anybody gotten to the state tournament or the highest competition you can so far in your age group? Track? Have you gotten to state track yet? Hey, a few of you. State debate, speech, music, all state positions. Yeah, so even if you don't make first chair all state in music, you've still made it. That's what's so amazing is that you work so hard for something. Now, the following season, I didn't think we were going to be among the best teams in the state, but we did have an amazing setter coming back. Got Estelle? Oh, Estelle. I'm going to keep calling you Estelle now. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Caroline Found was one of those amazing people that if she was attending your high school or your junior high, every one of you would know her. She was loud, she was crazy, but she had a smile for everyone. And she was an okay athlete, but she pushed herself so hard that she was the one that was our quarterback, our setter. that led us to that state championship in 2010. And I knew coming into the 2011 season, with her setting for us, that we were going to be pretty good. Not the best in the state by any means, but we were going to be good. She had that rare quality, go ahead, switch it, of making everybody feel important on her team, in her family, in her group, in her study groups. She embraced everybody. So one day one fall I had a young man with autism in my class. And he had a social disorder that crowds like this scared him. So he ate lunch every day in my room. And I happened to mention it that night to Caroline. I said, this Kevin is eating every day in my room. He's afraid to go to the cafeteria, big crowds scare him. I'll be darned if the next day she didn't show up to my room and say, hi, I'm Caroline. Do you want to be my friend? And she ate lunch with him in my room for about 2 weeks, and then one day they weren't there anymore. Right? Caroline was like the popular group, in case you wondered. And I walk up to the cafeteria, there's Kevin, there's Caroline, sitting with all their friends, and he ate lunch with them every single day the rest of the school year. Because she included everybody with it, whether it was kids with special needs, and she had her best buddy, a young girl with Down syndrome, she picked up for school every day, took her trick-or-treating. I think it was because Caroline wanted the candy, but that's all right. Okay? But she had a spot in her heart for everybody. Now, that being said, she could be a little crazy as well and spontaneous and not think things through. So one day she got in trouble with the substitute teacher, and she came up to me, this was after our state championship for junior year, and she goes, Brez, I gotta tell you, I got in trouble. I thought, wow, we're making progress. She's coming to me ahead of time to tell me she's made a mistake. So what'd you do? I got lunchroom detention because I was messing around with a substitute who was in the classroom. So I, kind of gave her the riot act about my captains and responsibility and leadership. And I thought, I walked away just strutting. I thought, wow, I'm making a difference. She's learning. She's maturing. Until the next day. Assistant principal comes to my door, my classroom. Whereas I got to talk to you about your setter. That's never good. That's never good. Look at that face, right? And I said, didn't she show up for her detention? Oh yeah. That's what she brought. She ordered pizza for everybody in detention. So the pizza guy came in carrying 20 large pizzas. So that wasn't quite what I had in mind when I heard that she was going to go serve her detention and do the right thing. Another day, my principal, she was just, like I said, very spontaneous. My principal said, Brez, I got to talk about your setter. I thought, oh God, here we go again. Now what? It is not appropriate for her to run down the hall, take a leap into the air, and jump into my arms and give me a hug. I mean, he wanted to call Dr. Arkwright, very serious guy. And she just took off down the hall, running full speed, and jumped into his arms and said hello. So he didn't, I don't know if your principal would appreciate that very much. I'm not sure where he's hiding right now, but maybe one of you could try it this week and have a Live Like Line shirt on. Run full speed, jump into Mr. Edelman's arms, and wrap your arms and legs around him. Now, I do have to tell you that Caroline was so excited about her senior year. On New Year's Eve, January 1st, 2012, 12:01 a.m. You gotta remember I was 7 years younger then, and I stayed up that late, right, till midnight. I get a text. Of course, it's from Line. Brez, only 242 more days to the first practice. That's how much she was a three-sport athlete, but she was so passionate about volleyball. Just passionate. That was her life. And that spring she came to me and said, I'm going to be faced with this wife. And that was so unlike her. She said, I have to tell you something. This is right after Easter. Mom's just been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And she grabbed me, and she pulled me close, and tears started coming out of her eyes, and she said, what are my mom's chances? Nobody will tell me the truth. Will she be there for my graduation next spring? You guys, we've all dealt with things like this, whether it's grandma or cat or grandma or whoever. It's never easy. And we talked about how it was going to be an uphill battle, and it wasn't going to be easy, but her mom was pretty stubborn, so I thought if anybody could overcome this, it would be her mom. And as summer went on in our open gyms, and I could tell by the way Caroline was acting that her mom was getting sicker and sicker. So I pulled my assistant coach aside. I said, Scott, I think we need to start training another setter. We didn't have another setter ready. Who was our quarterback this year? What team? Where is he? Oh, all right. What grade was the backup quarterback? Who was the backup quarterback? All right. Our backup setter, because we had an all-state setter, our backup setter was only a freshman. And by the way, good football season. I was following you guys on your Facebook page. Playoffs, nice job. And I said, Scott, should we grab an upperclassman and try to start training somebody the remainder of the summer to see if we can get somebody ready to set? Because our freshman was not ready to take over a volleyball team. And he said, no. If we do that, it will send Caroline the wrong message. Because I kept thinking, if her mom, Ellen, dies during our season, and gets sicker and sicker, and she's in the hospital, we're not going to have her setter for days on end. And my job as a coach is to the whole group. Of course, I wanted to protect them and take care of Caroline, but ultimately, I had to take care of that team too. And Scott just said, no, we can't do it. So we did, and we get closer and closer to the season. And her mom was getting sicker and sicker, and I kept thinking, oh my God, I hope she just makes it to the first game, which doesn't seem like very far along. That didn't seem like it should have been that hard. It was only like 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away. We start our preseason, and you guys, anybody that's been in sports in August, you know how hot it is, right? The sweat is dripping, and you're going 2-a-days, and it's hot. It's hard, it's hot, and we were dragging. We were just dragging. I knew we weren't getting as much energy as we normally do. I think we have one more. And she always brought all that kind of energy to all of us. She played the music loud. She's the one that played the warm-up music. She's the one that counted, said how many numbers we were counting to after every huddle. Because you guys all counted 3. 1, 2, 3, Cougars. Is that what you all do?
No.
Yeah. Okay, so anybody ever wear number 3? The number 3? Yeah, see, so Caroline thought that was unfair. Why should we always count to Morgan's number? That's not fair. Why does Morgan always get to count to, why do we count to 3 for Morgan? So she took over her junior year, telling us what number we were going to count to. All right? Bella played well today in practice. We're going to count to 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. And thank heavens we're not football. Okay, we don't have tight ends at 81. We'd be spending like 10 minutes counting. So volleyball, we didn't go any more higher than 18, which was high enough. So after every practice, every time out, every game, she'd say, West on 7, West on 1, West on 11. And we always waited to see what we were going to count to. And that meant that person did something well in practice or the game, whatever. So her energy that was her junior year state tournament. Her energy was really waning, and you can understand why. Her mom is dying. Her mom is really sick. So the 4th day of preseason, we're in drill, and it's a drill that's going forever. And I'm getting ball after ball after ball. Typical Caroline, in the middle of the drill, yelled out, Braz, what kind of gas does a moped use? Now I'm not very happy at this point with my captain. So what kind do you think it uses, Caroline? The kind that comes from a gas station. Now I just kept getting balls. I was not happy. I knew she didn't have a moped. There's no way I would have had my setter riding a moped. There's no way her dad, the surgeon, would have had her riding a moped. And I thought it was just a typical Caroline thing to not focus, you know, that kind of thing. And practice finally got over. And that night at about midnight, my phone rings. So I'm not happy, because a week before, Caroline and another player, Shelley Stump, called me at about 3 in the morning to start screaming that, because I had been singing Tiptoe Through the Tulips at team camp. Now, probably only people really old in here understand Tiptoe Through the Tulips. I suggest you all Google it sometime. It's a guy that sang it, Tiny Tim. He's like the biggest creeper you've ever seen in your life. Okay, Tiny Tim, remember the name. Google Tiptoe Through the Tulips. You'll absolutely die. So I sang that to them at team camp, and so they had called me and were screaming that they had Googled them, and they were going to turn me into the Department of Human Services. I was a bad person, I was a bad coach, they were damaged forever. So another midnight call, I pick it up and I said, fine, this isn't funny. Season has started, don't wake me up at midnight. The voice on the other end said, Bres, don't hang up. There's been an accident. Caroline was on a moped on her way to the hospital. She'd lost control and died instantly. So you would just wake up and hear this news in the first stage of grief, according to Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's disbelief. And that's exactly what I did. No, you mean for mom. No. Caroline died. My world, you guys, it felt like my world just fell right through the floor of my house. It felt like my soul had just broken. This person's so full of life and so full of passion. It had to be wrong. Something had to be wrong. That couldn't be possible. So I met with my team that next morning. We were supposed to have practice at 8 in the morning. We all met about 6 o'clock. That's when they started showing up. And I thought, well, how do we go forward? How do we pick up the pieces and move on? We have no center. We have no passion. We have no leader. This was a lifeblood, not only of our team, but of our school. How the heck did we step in this court again? So all I could think of the night before when I got up into the rest of the night, this text started coming in from all over the state. Everybody in the state of North Carolina. She introduced herself to everybody in club tournaments. And all I thought was, okay, you know what, we're going to go stand on the last spot on the court, the center spot right here. The last spot she was when I saw her live. We're all going to sit right here. And I thought, 15 of us, we can fit in. And I thought, we're just going to comfort each other, we'll keep the lights off, and just hold each other and just be there for each other. And everybody's sobbing, and we're all sitting there, and all of a sudden, you know, the lights in the pitch went dark, like we had the lights off in here. And I started sensing that there's other people in the gym. And there was probably 600 or 700 of our student body, including some from City High, our arch rivals, around the gym, just in the darkness, 6 in the morning. Because they knew that the volleyball team meant Carolina, and they needed to be around our volleyball team. And so I'll be honest, at first I was kind of resentful. Like, this is our pain. This isn't your pain. You guys don't understand what we're going through. And it was really selfish. But sometimes when we're just filled with grief, we have selfish thoughts. And that passed immediately, and we pulled everybody in. We all just sat, and we just the volleyball court and kept the lights off. It was just all these people. It was an amazing thing. We wrote letters. I gave one people. We wrote letters to Caroline. And I still have those letters in the box at my house. No one's ever read them. We were always going to burn them someday out at the farm at the farm. But we haven't gotten around to it yet. So you guys, you're going to feel lost. This isn't necessarily a story about sports. This is a story about life. You're going to have such huge setbacks in your life sometime. I don't know if it's failing a class. I don't know if it's going to be like us and you're going to lose someone you love tremendously. Maybe you don't get accepted to a college one. You have choices. And how do we go on? Do we go on? You know, my initial thought was, I don't know how we can play volleyball. I don't know how we can move forward with this. And my players did not have to follow them. And I thought finally decided, no, we have to do this. We have to do this. This is what we do. This is how we define ourselves. We are volleyball athletes. We are an amazing volleyball program, and we're going to use this to heal. That didn't mean those girls had a volleyball. I had 15 girls ranging in age from 14 to 17. They're the ones who have the courage to say, we're moving forward. And at no point did we ever say we're going to win the line. That would be a lose-lose situation. We couldn't do that. But we said we're going to play like lion, play with passion, and play with love. And if you saw the movie, it made it look like I was Attila the Hun, right? I was so mean in that movie. And actually, in real life, our days were filled with laughter and love, or crying. It was one or the other. So the girls' only rule was, we will never cry between these green lines. We'll never cry on the court, ever. You need to cry, go outside. So there was a lot of days. You know, we had a lot of things to try to figure out, like who was going to set, how we were going to compete, how we were going to honor her, what are we going to allow the public to see. And none of those were easy things. We just kind of had to wallow our way through it. They're the ones with the drive and determination. They're the ones who carried me and my other sisters. And they were gung-ho. They were not satisfied with anything other than the fact that they were determined to stay for her, which is crazy. That was a crazy idea. We had a match pretty soon right after that, after Caroline's funeral. And right the night before that scrimmage, Caroline's mom died. 12 days after she was buried. So it was a bam, bam. We got hit by a heavyweight twice in the jaw, no protection. And once again, you have to figure out how am I going to move forward when life throws me these blows. And you do it, guys. You can do it. Whatever happens to you, you can do it. I now truly believe that no matter what life throws at us, we can move forward when things seem the most hopeless. And the thing is who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are the people that you are around? Some of you are great athletes, but are you making the people around you better? Some of you are great teammates, but are you always trying the hardest? I can't answer those questions. We realized that those were the things Caroline brought to us. She was a great athlete, but she made everybody better. She was a great teammate because she made everybody feel important. So we moved forward, and then some of you realized who I finally had to pick to be the setter. Who was it? What was the name of the girl? Kelly Fleeler. You guys that don't know the story at all, this was her best friend since grade school. She wasn't going to have a starting spot on our team. She was a senior 4.0 student. We needed someone smart, we needed someone athletic. I said, Kelly, you have to be a setter. She just started crying. She said, no, I can't. I said, Kelly, you have to. She said, Bryce, don't put this on me. Do not put this on me. Do not put this on me. I didn't have anybody else. So you talk about sacrificing for your team. She knew in her heart that she was replacing her best friend in that lineup. And so I thought, okay, we gotta make this kind of fun. I was like, hey, Kel, just think now you can have me as your 52-year-old best friend. There's Kelly, there's Brez. There's Brez, there's Kelly. You go to class, I'll go to class. You go to the lunchroom, I'll go to the lunchroom. You go to the bathroom, okay, we're not going to go there. So the next morning, well, first off, in that night of practice, I called him out quick and said, Shirley, set another place setting. I said, let Kelly think I'm coming over for supper. I said, I'm going to be her 52-year-old best friend. And so Kelly got home that night and saw the other place setting. I guess she just screamed. I said, she's not really showing up here, is she? And I said, I'm moving in. Charlie, my dog's moving in. We were going to spend the rest of the school year together. You and me, you and me. Next morning, she showed up at class. I'm sitting in her desk. And she was just like, oh, my God. Second period, she goes to second period history. I'm sitting in her desk. Third period, same thing, fourth period. So we try to get, I tried to get her relaxed because that was a tough thing. That was a tough thing to teach kids. And we did struggle. We had some losses. Unlike movie, we never forfeited. But we also had fun. One day I came into practice and nobody was around. Nobody. The gym's empty, just like this. And I know your coaches expect certain attitudes in your practices and things like that. And walking in, it's like, where the heck are they? All of a sudden I hear giggle, giggle. Okay, you guys, every guy in here knows girls can't shut up for long. Right? So I knew if we waited them out, pretty soon they would give themselves away. And in volleyball, a lot of times we use hitting boxes. They're about this tall, this deep. And we had ours up against the wall. What we do is stand on them and hit, work on our shoulders and arm speed and stuff. I hear giggle, giggle, and the 3 hitting boxes are over in that corner of our gym. Walk over. Now I really hear them there. So my assistant and I snuck over, grabbed some half-empty water bottles out of the trash, held the boxes against the wall and started pouring all the water inside those hitting boxes. And they just started screaming because it was used water. Whatever the heck used water is. But they did move forward. We didn't have music there, we did practices, it was still quiet. But partway through, Kelly did start playing music. So that was pretty cool. We finally got some music back in our gym. And we started winning. And we started winning some more, and all of a sudden I thought, you know what, maybe we do have a shot. Now, who's your biggest rivalry, you guys? Who's it? Who's your biggest sports rivalry? School you just can't stand. You'd rather walk on fire than lose to them. Dyke through Harvard? Is that what they said? Dyke. They're in your conference? Okay, Dyke through Harvard can't help. They're too tough. Yeah, City High is across town from us. They were ranked #1 in the state. We ended up towards the end of the season being ranked #2. They are arch rivals. We both qualified for state, and we were in opposite brackets. We win the semis, they win the quarters, they win the quarters. We barely win the semis, they sweep the semis. We are going to have an all Iowa City championship. And we walk in, and I remember looking around, and the stadium is filled all the way around, not just our kids, with these Live Like Line shirts. People from all over the state had one of those. And I didn't realize that they were being sold anywhere other than in our school, because everybody in school was wearing them all the time. And it was just electrifying that day in that gymnasium. First set, we lose 25-27. Thought, okay, that's all right, not a big deal. Second set, we lose 26-28. And now I was like, we're on 0-2, best of 5. And that was the only time all year I prayed about a volleyball outcome. And it wasn't to win the set or the match. It was like, God, please just give us one win so we don't get swept. Because I knew what that would have done to my players had we been swept. Or ever. And I didn't think there was any chance we could win at that point, but I just didn't want to be thrilled. We clawed back and won the third. We clawed and fought hard and won the fourth. Fifth set, all those 15 for you guys that have not been to a volleyball match, that's not a deal. We're tied at 10, we're tied at 12, we're tied at 14, or 13, and then City High went back to serve for the championship point. And it was something you transferred from West High School. Her serve hit the bottom of the net. And somebody behind me said, nice job, Caroline. I said, oh, Caroline, we've never done it. Maybe that's why I give a mom item, for sure. And City High went on and missed the next 3 serves in a row. It's time for a championship point. 3 times. They had not missed 4 serves the entire state tournament. And it came down to the championship point. And I remember when that ball hit that Ronnie went down there. Just barely clipped it. Like they were collapsing to the floor, and I just started sobbing. And I thought, what do we do now? Because we always had each other every day, 3:45. I knew I had my girls there, that they were going to be there for me. And I thought, where do we go from here? What do we do? You know, that's the thing, guys. When things are hard, where are you turning to? You've got people there for you. You're feeling depressed, you're feeling down, you're feeling unhappy, you just got dumped. There are people you can reach out to. We had each other. And that's what was truly amazing, was we had each other. And as a championship stuff meeting, you know, there's a screaming and yell at first, and then screaming and yell at tears. And we all missed him so much. But now when I look back, I think what an amazing legacy for this young woman. We're getting letters from people all over the world. Here's our student body. We're in the little college shirts. That was state semifinals. Koshkova just got married 2 weeks ago. And one more. And that was the championship match. And there was laughter, and there was tears, and randomly, the song Sweet Caroline came up on at the state tournament. They have music plugged in. Nothing just goes kind of like a radio station just goes. And as soon as our championship point went down, they started playing Sweet Caroline, just by happenstance, which was a song we played after every home match this year. And like, holy cow, everything was kind of aligned. It really was. So since the movie came out, and we never first off, we said no to a movie for 3 years. We didn't know what they would do. We didn't want to put them in take a new story. But we finally gave in because we trusted the guys who were going to write the screenplay. We trusted the company who was going to produce it. And it was the first female sports movie ever produced about high school female athletes. I bet you guys could yell out a bunch of boys' sports movies, right? I can think of Hoosiers. What other ones? We Are Marshall. Field of Dreams. What else we got?
Sandlot.
What is it?
Sandlot.
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 The Blind Side.
Huh?
Blind Side.
Waterboy. Which is not the same as Waterboard. Okay, now name how many female sports movies you can name.
The Miracle Season.
Miracle Season, I think, is it. Now, they've had some about
Look at their own.
just some female
Baseball
athletes,
movies
but
like
not
their own.
about a high school girls team, which
Look at their own.
made this extra special. And I guess Mr. Pound and I, our thoughts were, if we can impact young girls and young people everywhere, or even a few of them, then it's worthwhile. And we've gone people. We've got hundreds of thousands of letters from kids that are coming from all over the world. Right now, the movie's really big in the Philippines, in some different countries in Africa, Italy, where else are we there? The little obscure islands, about people that were saying, we want to live life blind. We want to be kinder. We want to include others. We want to make people feel better. And so people come to Iowa City. This little girl right here, I had to take her picture. She was from Denver. She gets one summer vacation every other year. They had reservations for Disneyland. She gave up Disneyland to come to Iowa City, Iowa, and to go to the Live Like Lion bench. First off, crazy child, who gives her Disneyland, right? But yeah, she came to Iowa City, and the next one, you can switch it. So we keep getting these pictures, and we keep getting these letters, and that's what made it worthwhile, you guys. We still grieve that Caroline is gone, but she is making such a difference to so many people. So many people. So I think you can only ask yourselves, who around you is making you better? Can you point to somebody right now that's making you a better person on the count of 3? They might be on the other side of the gym. They might be in heaven. They might be, in the basement. All right, on the count of 3, you've got to point at somebody that makes you a better person. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Point.
Or make me a better person.
Wow. Yourself?
pointing way over there because that's why.
Clearly my best friend, right? Right?
I guess
All right, so if somebody pointed at you, make sure you tell them thank you, and the people that
You're not welcome.
pointed to, but they're not here. How many would have picked one of your parents? If you pointed at somebody and they're not here, you would have pointed at your parent. How many would have pointed at a grandparent? How many would have pointed at a teacher, coach, or a youth leader of some type? You guys tell them that. Tell them that. Make sure you write them a note. See Vivian Stringer, I don't know if you know her, is a women's basketball coach at Iowa for many years. And she's only been the fifth person to reach 1,000 wins, men or women, in college basketball. And she's come back to Carl Hawkeye to bring the Rutgers team to play. And I put a little video on social media about her. And someone said, I was in grade school, 4th grade when she was here. And I used to draw her pictures, and at halftime I'd run up and leave them on her seat on the bench during the Iowa games. She said, she made such a difference in my life, and that's why I went into teaching, because I wanted to be around influenced people like C. Vivian Stringer. And I said, write her a note, tell her that. This woman's in her 30s now. I was like, tell her that. So if you got people in your life that are making a difference to you, tell them that. Okay? Tell them that. That's what really it's all about. Go ahead, let's switch one more. It's pretty surreal to have a movie made about you. I campaigned for J. Lo to play me. See it, right? Instead, it was Helen Hunt, who's an Academy Award-winning actress, so that's pretty cool. But when they changed things, so now when I watch true stories, I realize how much of that has been changed, and it's not exactly how things went. I don't want to sit here and tear apart the movie and say, this didn't happen or this didn't happen, and I could do that. But I think they kind of got the gist of it. I think the most amazing part of the movie was Caroline's funeral. And they got that right, other than the sequence. What was the most amazing thing in the movie about Caroline's funeral? Did you see the movie? Are you sure you didn't see the movie? No. What do you guys saw, right? What happened at the funeral?
At the funeral, her mom came and touched it and everything.
Caroline's mom was so sick on the day that her daughter was going to be buried that we didn't know she was going to make it. University of Iowa Hospital was 1 block away from the church. We kept waiting. Bob Lucky was in his own special room, and we had our own area to wait. And Caroline's mom came, the ambulance pulled right up to the door, brought her in the wheelchair so she could go to her daughter's funeral. And on the way out of the funeral, they went to get the wheelchair, and she said, no, I'm going to walk. I'm going to walk out of here and honor my daughter. And she did. She walked out and she was shaking people's hands. And that was the last time she ever walked. So they did get that part of the movie amazingly right. And let's see, what else? The other thing is I think they did a pretty good job of showing our visitation. We had about 4,000 people come for that. But to me, that whole thing ended up being a celebration of life. And I hope one thing you guys get out of here is what it means to live like life. Be spontaneous. Even you guys that are screwing around, they're all right. I wouldn't sit this long either. Be spontaneous. Coming home from the state qualifying match in Des Moines, our junior year, I hear this ungodly screaming in the back of the bus. Screaming. Only like girls can scream. I look back, and I see Caroline jumping up and down, and Shelley Stump, or comrade in arms, jumping up and down, and I march back. I'm going to be a tough guy. What is going on? Of course, the juniors, seniors, nobody says a word. What happened? Nobody says a word. I grab a sophomore. I thought, she's got 2 years with me. She better own up. And she said, icy hot. And I said, what do you mean? Down there. Because they're like, they're grabbing themselves and jumping up and down. They put icy hot on their bodies. Okay, so sometimes it's good to be spontaneous, maybe. I understood Carolyn being that stupid, but how the heck she convinced her best friend to do that? That's really a leader. Icy hot. Woo! So maybe don't be that spontaneous. To live like mine, I hope you remember to embrace everybody. I hope you remember to accept the people that aren't easy to accept. Are there kids at your school that don't wear the right clothes?
No.
Maybe they have body odor. Maybe they don't speak English very well. Those are the people that need your attention. Not the popular kids. Live like Lion and embrace people that aren't easy to embrace. Live like Lion and be spontaneous. Live like Lion and love life. Love life, you guys. There's no do-overs. You know, I look here and you think, what a good-looking group, by the way. Well, most of you. A couple questions, but not bad. So what I did this week was ask the teachers at the middle school to give me the names of somebody that they saw being kind this week. And so a bunch of teachers came through, thank you teachers.
Fingers crossed.
And when I get all done reading these names, I would like you guys to stand up, because these are the people that your teachers said they saw living like Lion, being kind, being passionate, caring, and making people around them better. So we'll hold up, and then I'll say, will you all please stand up, because one of you is going to get a free Miracle Season book. Okay, and everybody else whose name's on these slips, I'm going to have you, I'm going to get a Miracle Season sticker if you want. So Edie Sewer, name is on here. Adeline Westendorf, Gracie Chapman, Grant Trainer, Carrie Schultz, and I'm going to want to get a picture with all you guys too. Good. Isabel Elliott. Ooh. Yeah, go ahead and start standing up, you guys. So I say your name. Paige Trainer. Say you on stage. Stay on stage. Stay. Sorry. Ava Bernhardt. These are the people your teachers recognize, and that took a lot of teachers take time too. Trinity Brinks, Lindsay Bunce, Abby Meyer, Jana Meyer, everybody like, oh, Jana, I understand. Rachel Stimson. Wow, Rachel. Walter Osborne, Spencer Schmitz. I said Jana Meyer. Is there another Jana? Julia Buckholz, Lilia Uhlenhop, Lindsay Taplin. The two here in the facility. Lily Uhlenhop. Sorry. What if I have a name like Bresnahan? No one ever gets that right. Megan Newhall. Don't we have anybody just named Smith here?
Yes.
Kate Mitchell. I'm waiting for somebody to bring the Packers. Come on, you got it. Okay, that's you and I. I thought it was the Vikings. I was going to say Snow. Trista Harrison, Abby Meyer, Morgan Block, and Lindsay Taplin. I think I got them all. Please stand up.
No, go up there. He wants you to draw a name. No, don't. Go.
Yeah, we have Bella Longworth here. One day, and all the rest of them love to get your new pictures. So those are the people we recognize as being kind and including others. Thank you so much for living like mine. Reach in, grab them out, mix them all up. Here.
That works.
All right, Chris. All right, Megan, you gotta sign the book when we get done today. Where's Megan? Congratulations. The rest of you too, make sure we get our picture when we get done, all right? So, a couple things. If you want to get a book done, that's great. $20 of money supports the Live Like Lion Foundation. Our foundation, I started with, we got a little bit of money for making a movie. So our foundation allows kids to participate in activities they couldn't normally do. And it's kind of cool to think that we have something, once again, that's keeping just this act of this young person that was taken from us, keeping her memory alive. We help kids play club volleyball. We just paid 3 kids this week to take the AP entrance exams. They can afford the $95. We bought a graduation robes for a few kids from Egypt last year that couldn't afford to buy them for graduation. So we're doing a lot of fun things. And what we always ask people that we give money to is, please go out and do one thing for somebody else. And so that's what I would like for you to do, is try to find one, make a difference for somebody in the next day. Find somebody who can do something for them. So I always end all talks, and I'm going to stay around for pictures or signing anything. First off, we got to get this organized. We're going to all eventually come down here. We're going to count to 9. That was Caroline's number, 9. So hostess, we counted to 9. And we're going to say Cougars. But as we come down, want to strike it up? Music?
I knew it.
I'm going to add and record, you guys, and we're all going to sing Sweet Caroline.
I know.
Come down everywhere.
So is Bella. So does Bella.